So I've been playing Eugen for about 64 hours because I've played 64 hours in the game, and I haven't used anyone else since the beginning because I just really wanted to perfect him because I think he's nasty. So this is what I've learned in my best build that I can make so far. Because I put 65 or so hours into the game, and virtually every last one of them has been on Eugen, besides those moments that I'm forced to play the main character in the story mode. I think he's underrated and underplayed, and you need to give him a shot. So today I'll be walking through the skills that I use, the passives that I have built up, and the sigils that I have so far. I'm missing a couple crucial sigils, but either way, I'm still clocking over 10 million damage in the 30-second counter on the test dummy, and that's on a ranged build. So I'm constantly putting out damage on Eugen. I think that Eugen is OP, and I think he's slept on. So let's get into the skills. First, I've got Venom Grenade. This gives defense down to the enemy. It's a darkness skill, and it adds damage over time. This skill is really strong against light, like the Light Dragon, for example, because the damage over time is taken for nearly 20k a second, which is just nice to outside of all your damage sources to constantly be happening. Even when the monster is doing their rage mode, it's constantly hitting for that value. So I think it's a strong skill to have on. Outside of that, you could put the heal bullet. That's the only one I would maybe suggest being able to switch, because defense down when you're already hitting max damage isn't as necessary. Sumrak is my mob clearing ability. It's the laser beam, and it is so good for things such as on Piet's fight where he's dropping all those drones everywhere. I can clear those drones in a matter of seconds with Sumrak. Paralyzing bullet is an actual stun, one of the rare stuns in the game, so I think it's highly recommended to have on Eugen's build, especially during something like a raid where those moments of standstill on a boss are incredibly useful, or to stop somebody else if there's two bosses in a fight from fighting you while you're focusing the other. Detonator is the big boom boom ability. This thing does 1.8 mil per usage for me, and it does a ton of stun and break damage. So I highly suggest slotting this thing on, especially if you have some charge time built into your build. It comes out pretty quickly, and it'll detonate on all your mines that you throw on top of the monster. I think it's an absolute must. So that's the skill layout that I've got so far. We'll get into the masteries that I've got for him. So I've fully maxed out my offense defense collection, just so people know, and some people don't know this, you actually get all the passives from the collection for every weapon. So you're going to want to level up every weapon, and you're going to want to hit all these nodes because you get the passives on your character despite if you're using the weapon or not. I'm finding a lot of people don't understand that, and that's just like massive for each character that you're building. For my overmastery right now, I've got normal attack damage capped up, and that's that's super important. Same with my crit rate at 16%. Typically you want to find any sort of cap up that you can on these passives. So I have the normal attack maxed out, is the reason I'm sitting on it right now, but you typically want to look for one that's going to have normal attack cap, your skill cap, and your SBA cap if possible. It's a really hard roll, but that's what you're looking for typically on everyone. Let's get into my gear here. So on Eugen, I actually have a build right now that has glass cannon. So here's what I'll talk about. Glass cannon increases your damage cap, so it makes it so you can do more damage, and that's the main thing you're looking for in this game right now, because there's damage caps on roughly everyone. If you're seeing that you're hitting the same damage at all the time, you're going to want to find a way to increase your damage cap. So I actually have maxed out standard damage cap with 65 points into standard damage, but also glass cannon. Here's what I'll say. I actually typically don't use this build because glass cannon makes it so it gives you another 30% increase for your damage cap, but every time you take damage, you become stunned with dizzy. I tried to get around this for testing purposes by in putting a ton of dizzy resistances on the build, because once you get it to level 30, it says you're immune to dizziness. So I thought I could cheese the glass cannon, but unfortunately you still get dizzy from glass cannon. It doesn't allow you to avoid it. So I personally don't even use this build. So I'll actually show you the one that I think I normally would use for Eugen in the raid. So first things first, I actually don't have War Elemental. If I did, I would 100% slot it on. What it does is it makes every monster you face against, your element is essentially always going to be the better element into it, right? So it's always going to have that extra 15%, 20% damage that you provide. So War Elemental is super good, but I played 65 hours and I still have yet to find it in one of those curios. Those curios that you have the guy identify for you is the only way you can find it. Still no luck for me yet, but I would slot that in. I also don't have the perfect roll of Eugen's abilities on his sigils. So I have Veteran's Insight that you're able to buy from the shopkeeper, but I don't have his second ability. That'll obviously slot in right here instead of this one. Speaking as I did before, damage cap is super important. So this one actually has attack and damage cap on it, which is great. I like dodge payback a ton because despite the fact that you'll deal more damage when you get a perfect dodge, you actually get a second, if not more, depending on your level, of more invulnerability after a perfect dodge, which is really, really strong for this playstyle because you're always dodging with him and never blocking with him. Damage cap, again, like I said, low profile never hurts, just making sure that you don't get focused all the time. So it's nice to have on top of another ability, but I don't think that just slotting in low profile alone is worth it. I think it's nice to have outside on something like damage cap like I do here. Critical hit rate is always great. I haven't leveled this up yet, so it'll increase my critical hit rate. But you don't want to get too much past 90% because there is buffs from other heroes that are going to increase your crit rate. So it's never really worth having 100% because that just makes those buffs absolutely useless, in my opinion. But you can get to 100% crit rate, and so it's not the end of the world, but just something to note. I actually didn't switch over the build, so I just did quickly. Outside of that, I've got quick charge. I think quick charge is really good simply because you're using charging for your big boom boom ability and for every single time you're holding down your auto attack or your ranged attack. And that'll actually reduce the cooldown it takes or the charge rate it takes for you to get that shot off, which I think is really good. So quick charge is actually very strong on Eugen, and it came with quick cooldown, which also doesn't hurt. Once again, damage cap, it also has steady focus. Steady focus is another one of those sleeper abilities that Eugen works with incredibly well because you can't get knocked around while charging an ability, and that actually includes you charging your auto attack. So if you're in sniper form and you're holding down your square button on PlayStation to charge down and be ready to shoot, if you're getting hit, you actually will continue to charge and won't move an inch, and you'll just see you take a little bit of damage. It's nice to have that ability to not get pushed around in this game, and having that on something as simple as your auto attacks for Eugen is incredibly strong. You get regen here as well as damage cap. Supplementary damage is a very strong one. I highly suggest putting this on your build. Every time you deal damage, there's a percentage chance for you to deal extra source of damage on the outside. And I think that that's just a really good ability. Quick charge again, like I had mentioned before. And then link together. Link together is great because the most damage you can do in this game, especially on Eugen, is during that 100% link time when it slows down time. When you have Eugen, and I'm not sure if it's when you just get Veteran's Insight, because it doesn't really say it on the ability of Veteran's Insight. When you're in that link time where it's slow down time, every time you throw a grenade in your snipe form, it'll immediately blow up on impact and deal a ton of damage. I'm talking almost 500,000 per throw, and you can throw, I believe, more than one a second. So you can do ridiculous damage on Eugen during that time period. I'll showcase it a little bit here on the training dummy, but he gets popped into the air for some reason, so it's really difficult to just show how fast I can do it. But yeah, this just shows you how much damage you can really do during that link time. Hit him all at once. So that's going to do it for my Eugen build. I put a ton of time into him, and I absolutely love this character. If you have any questions, put them in the comments down below. And I'm going to be running that raid as soon as it comes out. So if you like this kind of stuff, going over to the Twitch and hitting follow, subscribing here down below is the best way to support me. I will see you guys very soon, and check out this gameplay. I'll get those things out of the sky. Just fucking tore them all up.
You got it. Stay alert, everyone. Oh yeah! I won't fail you.
When I destroy those things, the rain downs go away, chat. There's no more of them. That's why you don't see the lasers from the sky, because I destroy all the pets. Bibi Goigen!
I'll settle this. Charlotta! Bear witness! Ascension!
Don't have to tell me twice.
And boink.
Well done.
Here's a fun trick.
47% HP and a dream.
Here goes.
Oh, we almost got them all. Yeah, it's mad good, Flip. It's fucking awesome, dude.
Just when I thought we had it licked.
I'm pretty much juiced out of my character now, so I'm raid ready at this point, so I don't have too much else to do.
Nowhere to hide.
Right detonation! What can we say? The essence of teamwork!
Here it comes.
What? It didn't count mine. Bullshit.
Now then.
Whoa, what the fuck is that?
Gotta beat us. Now then.
He's pissed. How many hours of gameplay? Like 80. It's just like Monster Hunter where the end game gets really, really long. There's a ton to do if you want to min-max. But it's fun. The combat's super fun, which is the nice part. Me get it bone, beep it dum ba dee. His face is broken. That's sick.
Here goes. You better haul ass. Now then.